What is going on, guys? SargeantsTechTips. Welcome to another video on my channel. Now, in today's video, we're going to be doing something a little bit different. This is actually a scripted video. I just want to inform you guys. We're going to be taking a look at a liquid freezer free 280mm AIO from Arctic. Bear with me, I'm not used to reading off a script. Now, this will be my first AIO review, so bear with me here as I didn't get much information from my old AIO as I wanted to compare. I upgraded from the NZXT Kraken X53 240mm AIO, which I'll put a link in the description if you guys would like to buy that, which was working fine until I realized I've been using it across 3 different CPUs for almost 3 years. It was definitely time to replace it. So I figured it was time for an upgrade, and why not upgrade to a 280mm AIO to gain a bit more cooling performance. Firstly, I want to say the unboxing experience was great. It wasn't hard to get the AIO out of the box whatsoever. The AIO also feels premium, definitely worth the $95 price tag, which is what I paid for it at the time of the recording of that video. In some areas anyway. I didn't notice a whole lot of cooling performance compared to my 240mm AIO, but that's to be expected from the research I came across. The AIO does great. I haven't had any issues with it, just it may not be justified depending on the case you have for a 280. If you're going to buy a 240 and a 280, definitely buy the 280. But if you already have a 240, you're probably fine depending on the CPU you have. The only upside to this AIO is that it is much quieter compared to my 240mm AIO. By that, I mean just the fans ramping up, because sometimes I'd open Chrome, or, well, Firefox in this case, or Opera GX when I was using it at the time. My fans would just ramp up for no reason and then ramp down, which that's why I replaced it. And now that I have this AIO, I don't have that issue. I was going to change the fan curves, and I figured I needed to upgrade since my AIO is 3 years old. So, and as I was stating, it does randomly ramp up the fans when I do a random task. Don't get me wrong, the 240mm AIO cooled my 13700KF, which is the Intel Core i7, just fine without a single issue. I didn't see any thermal throttling unless I was hitting my CPU, the 13700KF, very hard with a heavy workload, such as Cinebench, the latest Cinebench. That was the only time I could really get a thermal throttle. I even did the Intel diagnostic tool to see if I was having any cooling issues, which it never thermal throttled from what the tool told me, and it had no errors, so it's not my CPU. In terms of cooling performance for either AIO, I think it is going to depend on what type of case you have, and I mainly say that because I have two 140mm fans in the front pulling in fresh air, and then at the bottom I have two 120mm pulling in fresh air toward my graphics card, which is the RTX 3080, and then I have one rear to 120, and then obviously the two 140s for the 280 at the top. In terms of installing the AIO, it wasn't difficult. The most difficult thing was taking out the 240 AIO and finding all the wires it needs. I do want to thank Arctic for designing this. Basically, you have one cable, and then it basically talks to the fans, the VRM cooler, which you can just plug into a system fan, or if you have a CPU OPT optional, that's where I would plug it in personally. It's really easy to install. There wasn't really any issues. The only issue, as I stated, was pulling out the old AIO because it had the USB cable to talk to the motherboard, and then it had obviously the AIO or the RGB connector, and then the fan connectors. So that was the only annoying thing, but otherwise it was fine. But basically it just has 3 headers, 3 cables that come off one cable, and all the wires are built into the actual tubing of the AIO, which is really cool, as well as this just goes straight to the actual block, which you can actually take off and replace if needed. And I think all the cables actually go into the sleeves of the AIO. I haven't figured that out. I did see a 360mm AIO for a PC I built. Same AIO, just a 360mm version, and it was pretty much the same. So one thing I did want to mention, and I actually regret not recording this, is when installing the AIO using the plate it comes with, I'll try to find a video on YouTube and put it on screen now of installing it, and then I'll put the person who made the YouTube video in the description, also the video, and then you can subscribe to their channel so that they're getting the credit. The reason I didn't record it is because I honestly forgot about this bracket. It's basically, I don't know if you guys have ever heard the Thermal Alright contact frame. It's basically a contact frame. It's a very nice contact frame. It's made very nicely. The only thing I did notice is you actually have to use the screws it comes with. You can't use the screws it came with because they're not deep enough, so you will have to use the screws because it sits a little bit higher. You do have to take the old bracket off, which you can leave the CPU in there and you'd probably be fine. And like in certain cases, if you were to install this first, or at least take off the old bracket before you put the CPU in, there's a chance you could drop the bracket into the socket and bend pins. So I highly recommend just leaving the CPU in there at all times, even if you just built a PC or you're building in the PC and you're like in the process of it. Basically just put the CPU in there for protection, and then you can install the contact bracket. The contact frame is okay. Like I said, it feels great. It feels very sturdy. It's just you have to put a lot of downward force to install it, which is a little tedious, especially for first-time users. I was fine. I've installed a lot of AMD CPU coolers, so I'm used to that type of, because sometimes you just gotta put a lot of force in there to get it to install, but it's not super difficult. As I stated, though, if you do not have any experience with computers, I definitely stay away from this AIO. Or you can take it as a learning experience. There's plenty of videos on how to install it. I'll link a couple in the description if I can find any, and if I remember, just so you guys have some videos on how to install it. I really wish I got footage of me installing it, but I didn't want to take it all apart and reinstall it, so I do apologize for that. It does include an AMD bracket, so if you're using AO4, If you're using AM4, it is going to have a slight offset on the CPU because it's actually sitting on the die, so don't be alarmed if you do install it on your AMD CPU and it's not like contacting the whole CPU. That's fine. The only thing I would like to actually point out is I think the organization in terms of screws could have been labeled a little bit better. All the screws were just kind of in one bag. They weren't labeled on what they did or anything. I know it's not necessarily required because there was the user manual, but I didn't even look at that. I obviously figured it out. It just took me a minute. I think they could have better organization with the screws and or the, like they could just, label them a little bit better. It'd be a lot easier. Now, in terms of cooling performance and numbers, as stated, I didn't get the whole information as I only ran the software for 15 minutes. And with it being an older software, I don't think it was hitting my CPU nearly as hard as it could have. Next time I do an AIO review, I'm hoping I have a test bench with a modern CPU and a modern GPU so I can do better like cooling like videos for you guys because I want you guys to know if this is worth buying. I personally think it is, as long as you have the experience with PCs in terms of the contact frame. I guess the only thing is I just didn't get a whole lot of numbers as I wanted to. I wanted to confirm that I wanted to let the test sit for an hour. For some reason I didn't. I actually don't even know the reason. I can't give you guys a valid reason. There's not really an excuse for it. I just didn't run it for an hour like I wanted to. I wanted to run it for at least an hour. So I did only get the 240mm AIO to only hit a maximum temperature of 89 degrees Celsius, which is pretty sure thermal throttling because what it would do, it was to ramp up to 100%. It would hit almost 90 degrees Celsius and then it would ramp back down to like 60%, but the CPU is still at 100 and it's not allowing my CPU to hit that 253 watt wattage that it, that obviously has. It just wasn't allowing my CPU to hit the 5.4 gigahertz boost, which is what the CPU is rated for. It was only using about 193 watts of power too, which is what I have on the script. In terms of the Arctic 280mm AIO, the maximum temperature I could get it to was about 91 degrees Celsius. Now, I will give you guys a warning. I used the older software. I actually don't remember. It's called Burn-In, I believe. You guys might have heard of it. I'll put a link in the description if you guys want to check it out. It's an older software, so it depends on how hard. It's still going to hit your CPU pretty hard, so don't underestimate it. But I let it run for about 15 minutes. I got the CPU to hit a 91% or a 91 degrees Celsius, and the maximum frequency was hitting about 5300 megahertz. So it was, as well as hitting 254 watts, allowing the CPU to hit its max potential. I still think it was still thermal throttling in a way, just because I think it still like kind of ramped down, but not as quickly. So the CPU was able to hit its max potential a lot longer than the 240 would allow. So I think the 240 was actually kind of thermal throttling it in a way. The test wasn't as equal because I did actually run Cinebench for the next test, but it was able to reach its max potential compared to the 240. The 280 definitely allowed it to hit its max potential. I kind of wish it would stay longer, but I think I would need a 360 for that. I just feel like the 240mm AIO may have not gotten like a fair chance at actually proving itself. Just take that into consideration if you are looking at this AIO. If you already have an NZXT AIO and you're in my case and you have a 240, I would keep it depending on your CPU. If you have like a Core i5, any generation, unless you're actually thermal throttling, keep it. If you have a Core i7, I would highly recommend getting a 280 or a 360 depending on your case size. I have the Leon Lee, I think it's the 011 Air Mini. So if you guys want to buy the case, there'll be a link in the description. I also have a computer specs document. I actually need to update it, but it's pretty up to date other than the AIO. But in terms of the AIO, if you guys want to buy this, I definitely would. It's got great cooling power for the price. Just keep in mind the install is not your typical AIO install, the install process. All the tools will be provided for the install, especially the screws. If you want to buy it, there will be a link in the description below. I will also put it for all my other PC parts. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, drop a like. If you guys did not enjoy this video, drop a dislike. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't done so already. Check out all the links in the description below for the AIO. Let me know how I did on this review, and I plan on doing more. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next video, and peace out.